Welcome to Extra Throttle House. I'm Thomas, and where's James? I'll tell you where James is. He left me here all by my little lonesome to drive this by myself, the Toyota Tacoma TRD Pro. This is actually one of two new kind of top trim, awesome off-road Tacomas that they've got going on. This is the high-speed Baja style one, and then the Trailhunter, which I'm going to drive in a bit, is the more slow speed, overlandy, adventure, off-road, rock crawling vehicle. But this one, as I said, is made for that high-speed Baja stuff, which is really trendy these days. Things like the Ford Ranger Raptor, the Bronco Raptor are both really, really good at it. And the Ranger Raptor, by the way, which is cheaper than this, has a V6. This one only has the iForce Max engine. When I say only, it is a pretty potent hybrid four-cylinder power plant, 326 horsepower and 465 pound-feet of torque. Yes, I wish it had a V6, but that's quite a lot of torque from a little four-cylinder hybrid, and you'll probably get better fuel economy than the Raptor. But this one has Fox suspension, like the Ford Ranger Raptor, but it's been tuned by Toyota, so we'll see how well it handles the big hits. But probably the most interesting part about this, other than the fact that it's got really good underbody protection so you don't accidentally misjudge a sand dune and destroy a Toyota, it has the isodynamic seats. I just like looking at them. There's like pistons and valves and switches and stuff. They're designed to absorb the shock for your body when you're going off big bumps and jumps off-road. Apparently it's supposed to keep your spine aligned or something. It's like a chiropractor. It comes with the Toyota. It's very nice. Anyway, I'm gonna drive this first on some cool technical high-speed off-road stuff, and then I'm gonna grab the Trailhunter and drive that, and we'll talk about them. So I went and had a little go in the TRD Pro, and after gathering all the impressions I could, I headed back to base and grabbed a Trailhunter trim and set out on the road to ponder my experiences with the two top trim Tacomas. Okay, I am in the Tacoma Trailhunter trim, and I just drove the TRD Pro off-road. I'll tell you about it. So they set up a little course, and there was a little jump, and the suspension, the Fox suspension, is adjustable. So they set it in the setting that they thought was correct for the trail, and off I went. Didn't really go that quick because it wasn't really a high-speed course, but I did get a feel for what the truck is capable of. It is capable. It's definitely very capable. It was nice and soft off the bumps, and the isodynamic seats, you know, they were neat. Like I could feel it kind of like take that impact of the back, more of the vertical part of the seat than it is the seat going this way, which is weird because seats kind of flex a little bit anyway. So let's just call it, 50% gimmick, 50% cool feature. Is that fair? I think so. Anyway, TRD Pro. Didn't really think that it's, how do I say it? I just drove the Ranger Raptor in a Baja situation, and I think that the Ranger Raptor is superior in pretty much every way when it comes to Baja driving. I'm not talking about reliability, not talking about any of that sort of stuff, just talking about the experience of driving it. I think that the V6 engine in the Ranger Raptor is more interesting, better, faster. Paddle shifters definitely were nice. There was no paddle shifters in the TRD Pro, so, I put it in the sportiest modes, but I was at the mercy of the shift logic, which wasn't always correct. So I went into the tight stuff and it didn't downshift. I was in the wrong gear. And yeah, the suspension was good, but it wasn't amazing. It didn't have the feeling that the Bronco Raptor, the Ranger Raptor, and the F-150 Raptor give you, which is that you could drive it off a building and it would go poof, right? It wasn't quite that level. It was good, but it wasn't amazing. So that brings us to the Trailhunter, which also has the same iForce Max engine, which, by the way, isn't actually that quick. It doesn't feel like it belongs in a sporty setting. It belongs in this setting, just kind of trundling along, using the fuel economy, using the EV to your advantage. It doesn't feel like it is a performance engine, right? Hopefully it has Toyota longevity, that would be nice, but when you put your foot down in it, fair bit of turbo lag, and it doesn't move you that much. Definitely got a lot of torque though. Though, by the way, this, as I said, is the Trailhunter, which means it gets a snorkel. And are you ready for this sound? What the hell? That's the most noisy turbo noise that I've ever heard in a car, because Sorry, it's not a snorkel. It's a high sand intake or whatever they call it. Because it's not sealed to the intake officially, I don't think. But it faces backwards right by the window. So you put the window down and you get all of the intake noises pumped into the cabin. It's very, very cool, and I enjoy it very much. But since this is the Trailhunter, it's not really about performance. It's about going long distances, overland, off-road, huge big camping trips, crossing continents, whatever you're gonna do. And that's where I think the Tacoma and Toyota belong, more than the sporty side and the Baja at this point. That's just my experience with driving those types of cars. Because this feels right to me. This feels correct. It's comfortable, it's easy to drive, it's getting good fuel economy, and it's got a whole host of features that are meant for overlanding right out of the box, right? This has got an air compressor built right in. It's got the 2400 watt plug, which the TRD Pro has as well. But this also has Old Man Emu suspension, which I know is a hilarious name, but in Australia, when they're driving their four-wheel drives, that's the suspension that those guys use, and they know what they're talking about. So that suspension is made more for carrying loads and keeping the truck controlled and stable than it is for taking big hits. I think the ride is better in this one with the Old Man Emu shocks than it is with the TRD Pro, which is a bit weird. But the Ranger Raptor, which we also have on test this week, is better than both of them, no question. But back to the features of the Trailhunter. This one has some rock rails, which are really nice. It doesn't have the hood scoop, so I can actually see what's coming. And we've learned that this is very important. When you're going up and over a dune or a berm, you need to see. And in the TRD Pro, I literally couldn't because the hood scoop was so big. So this is a little bit more forward visibility. And there's also cameras as well, which at low speeds in the off-road modes, it shows you what's coming, which is honestly pretty important. But this one has the 4 high and 4 low, and it's rear-wheel drive for normal driving. If you want a Tacoma that has the full-time 4-wheel drive with the Torsen center diff, you have to get the limited trim, which, you know, is fine, nothing wrong with that, but this is more of an off-road truck. The Land Cruiser has the full-time 4-wheel drive option, which tells you that the Land Cruiser seems to kind of have its place in the lineup at this point. But as I said, the Tacoma Trailhunter that I'm in right now, this feels like what Toyota's meant to do. Everything about this is excellent in many, many ways for going on long, right out of the box, going on long journeys. I love the interior of this. I love this styling with the kind of like faux marble stone look in the Toyota badge. The TRD Pro has a version of it, but it's leaning more towards sporty. I like the look of this better a lot. This is nice stitching. The orange on gray looks really good. Got this really neat little selector for the 2 high, 4 low. I can lock the rear diff and I can disconnect the front sway bar. It's kind of everything you need to go off-roading and traveling. I also really like the seating position in the Tacoma. I feel very in control of this. The steering is good. It goes where I point it. Everything seems to be calibrated very well. And since it doesn't have the isodynamic seats, because it isn't a TRD Pro, there's a little bit more knee room in the back. Not much, but a little bit more. And a little bit more is important because there's not very much passenger room in the back. Our sound man Harrison, who's 6'6", got in behind me in this one and the TRD Pro, and it's actually kind of funny just how cramped he is. But it's not a full-size truck. It's not a full crew cab Tundra. It's you know, meant to be a little bit more compact so that you fit down the trails and all that stuff. After spending a week with pretty much all of Toyota's new off-road lineup, the only thing we haven't driven is the 4Runner. It seems like, without driving the 4Runner, that the Land Cruiser actually has its place. And I think it would probably be my choice right off the bat if you're looking for an adventure truck. Because you do get the full-time 4-wheel drive, which I really like, especially because I'm from Canada and it snows. And this being a rear-wheel drive truck with an open differential, unless you fully lock it, means it's one-wheel drive in the winter, which isn't perfect. You better have good tires, is what I'm saying. So the Land Cruiser seems to make a lot of sense to me. But anyway, back to the Tacoma. The Tacoma's always been, I think, a great size truck and a great looking truck. I think that these things look absolutely awesome, especially this one with the Trailhunter badging, and it's got that extra back rack thing out there so you can strap some traction boards to it. But most importantly, I think that this iForce Max power plant, the hybrid with the 2400 watt plugs in it and all this overland, it suits this style more. Long adventure, durability, reliability, more than it does the high-speed Baja stuff. So the TRD Pro wouldn't be my choice in the Tacoma lineup. I think I'm a Trailhunter man. Anyway, there you go. Didn't even need James. You see that? Actually, I probably did need James. I probably got some information wrong, and if he was here, he'd tell me that I was an idiot, and he'd tell me that I forgot to tell you the color names of the trucks that I've driven and I don't actually know them. So I'm just gonna put them up here in text because I forgot what they were. But yeah, thanks for watching.